Joel Embiid is once again headlining the NBA MVP race, and for good reason. Embiid is putting up some historic numbers, breaking records seemingly every night, and doing some things that we frankly just have not seen on a basketball court before. However, there is one issue that could prevent him from taking home this prestigious award once again, and that being games played. That to this point, Joel Embiid has played in 26 of the possible 33 games for the Sixers. He's just coming off a road trip in which he missed 4 games due to the sprained ankle he sustained against the Toronto Raptors, and he can now miss fewer than 10 games for the remainder of the season to qualify the award based on the crackdown of the NBA for games played. That the qualifications from the league now stating that players must play at least 65 games to qualify for these postseason awards. So Embiid a little bit up against it as the season heads into not even its final stretch, as we have not hit the halfway point yet. So to speak on that a little bit, I want to start with this quote from Embiid being asked about this following last night's game. So this written by Kai Carlin of Sixers Wire here. He first writes, Embiid is on track to win the award again. However, with 49 games now left to go, the big fella cannot miss more than 10 games the rest of the way if he wants a chance at the second consecutive award. The NBA's player participation policy states that a player has to play in at least 65 games to qualify for the awards at the end of the season. Quote, I just want to play as many games as possible, Embiid said of the policy. Quote, you can't control it. It's unfortunate that I missed the last 4 games, but you can't control it. If I'm healthy, I said at the beginning of the season, my goal was, I knew that it wasn't going to happen anyways, but my goal was to try and play 82 games in every single game. So I like the quote from Embiid. Obviously, he's not going to be a guy that plays 82 games. There's very few guys that are even capable of doing that anymore. And Embiid does have some unique qualifications due to his injury history, the star that he is, and just making sure that he is ready for playoffs, as the Sixers have yet to get Embiid in a fully healthy playoff stretch this far in his career, and that is the priority moving forward. However, I do like that he wants to win MVP, and he should. That I do hate this nonsense of players not wanting it, or the comments of I don't care if I win, whatever. Guys should want to win it. You should want these prestigious awards. That when you look back on your career, it is those little bullet points on your resume that will be how you're remembered. If you're a 2-time MVP, that's better than being a 1-time MVP. And Embiid had a cool quote a couple weeks ago, sitting down with Tim Bontemps, where he basically said, I want it all. That I want MVPs, I want championships, I want defensive player years, I want to be remembered as the best. And that's the exact mentality for how it should be. And Embiid is on pace to do a lot of these things. That based on the most recent MVP tracker from Basketball Reference, Embiid leading the pack with his first in their rankings here to go down the list. Nikola Jokic number 2, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander number 3. I frankly would have Shai at number 2 right now. I've been really impressed with the basketball that he's playing, but all strong options here. Giannis, Luka, Tyrese Halliburton, Jason Tatum, Domantas Sabonis, Tyrese Maxey still sitting down there at number 9, and Damian Lillard in 10. Lillard has come on strong in recent weeks. I don't think Maxey remotely has a MVP chance, at least for this season. Hopefully, maybe at one point in his career, that would be quite impressive if he's able to reach that length. But I do like that he's at least brought up in these conversations. He's getting the buzz. He better be an all-star starter this year. That I want set in stone. We can wait on the MVP for now, because Joel Embiid has to win that. Now, there's a couple other factors that I want to bring in. And first, let me just recognize the special things that Joel Embiid is doing. That we're becoming numb to the level of talent that he is, that on a nightly basis, it just is not normal for 30 points a game, 35 points a game, which he's averaging this year, to just look as easy as it is for him. To look at his first, let me take through his stats and where they rank among the league. That on the season, averaging 34.8 points per game, which is first in the NBA, 11.8 rebounds, which is fifth in the NBA, 6.2 assists, which is 19th across the entire league, very impressive for a big man, 2.0 blocks, which ranks 10th, 1.2 steal, which ranks 35th, a 15.2 net rating, which is first across the entire NBA. Also, 1.2 loose balls recovered per game, which ranks second, and 10.2 contested twos per game, which ranks third in the league. So he is doing it in all areas. And also, when you dive into some of these advanced analytics, that has always been a sticking point that is held against Joel Embiid. That it's been a pro-Jokic statistic or mindset when bringing this up. But it does not look the case this year. That Embiid really doing some damage in a lot of those advanced metrics and really matching the eye test in which we are seeing the game. And what's especially impressive to me is the way that Joel Embiid was able to improve based off last year. That it felt like he finally hit the pinnacle. He broke through. He was recognized as the MVP. That felt like the peak of Joel Embiid as a player. But nope, he came back and improved in every single statistical category. So to look at his stats as a whole on the season, as I mentioned there, look at this. Improving in points, which he's leading the league for the third consecutive season, going from 33.1 points to 34.8 points. Also, significantly more rebounds from 10.2 last season to 11.8, much more the norm for him. The assist, the career high 6.2 right there. Blocks going up, his highest since his steals is a career high for him. His blocks too, so the highest since 2 per game, the highest since his rookie year there. And the efficiency has been very good as well, shooting 53.9% from the field, which is well above his 50.3% career average, shooting 35.3% from three, which has skyrocketed in recent weeks, and his effective field goal percentage sitting at 56.6%, which is really solid numbers there. Joel Embiid is a special basketball player that there are basically zero other human beings that can do what he does on the basketball court on a nightly basis. And the fact that he can win the games in a variety of ways is incredibly impressive to me. Think about the player that first came out of Kansas as this defensive shot blocking talent. He even was a little bit of a rim runner and a lob catcher back then. Those are not the days anymore. But for him to turn into this automatic mid-range shooter with some of just the best touch on a basketball that I've ever seen, to do that at his size is absolutely absurd. And to take that with the playmaking leaps, he had a nice no-look dish last night in the fast break that was insane to see him rebounding, dominating defensively. He just is special. He should be appreciated. I love the mindset for him to believe that he can still do this, and I do hope that he ultimately wins that award. I know the playoffs are the priority. They do have to make sure that his safety is kept in mind, but I would love for him to qualify for this award and win it for a second straight year because he just straight up deserves it across the NBA right now. Who knows? There's also plenty of basketball left to play, so if Nikola Jokic pops off or Shea continues on the journey and Embiid slips a little bit, you can make a fair argument in which he's going to lose the award straight out. That's absolutely still on the table, but at this point in time, there's no doubt in my mind that Joel Embiid deserves MVP, and he should be recognized as such. Now, another point that I want to hit on this is Nick Nurse speaking after the game. And a really cool concept. Nurse deserves a ton of credit for Embiid's continued growth, for a lot of factors in his game and areas in his game that have been improved, and really for making life easier. Like with those assists per games, a lot of this Joel deserves credit for continuing to grow in those areas, but a lot of it Nick Nurse deserves credit for having a system, having passes for Embiid to make, having guys cutting off the big man, being in effective spots off the double teams, all these things. Nick Nurse has been a massive help. Now, when he was speaking after the game, after last night's win against the Bulls, Nick Nurse had a cool quote where he said, "I don't overreact to foul trouble. How many times does a guy get 2 and he ends up with 3? I let guys play through." Nick Nurse said this on his decision to keep Joel Embiid after he got his 3rd foul in the first half. I love this answer, and this especially comes after Tyrese Maxey picked up his 2nd foul in under 3 minutes in that first quarter, and Nurse allowed him to play through that as well. To me, that is great coaching. That shows an immense amount of trust in these players to be able to stay on the floor without fouling, and it also is something that can absolutely change the game. That so often, and Doc Rivers was a perfect example of this, that this was an automatic. If you pick up your 2nd foul in the first quarter, you're going and popping to the bench. For me, I hate that. And obviously, you understand the logic, that you want to make sure these guys are around for the crunch time of the game, that they're not picking up extra fouls or potentially disqualifying themselves all those ways. But to me, it doesn't make sense to punish yourself already. That the punishment for these guys getting in foul trouble is you can't play them. So if you're taking them out and not playing them anyway, you're basically punishing yourself without giving yourself a chance. So by him allowing Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid to play through their foul issues early on, the Sixers produced an astounding victory, just ran the Bulls out of the gym, got the G League squad on the floor for the 4th quarter, and that might not have been the case if Nick Nurse had done that automatic instinct to throw these guys on the bench. Now, the Bulls, it might not be the best example. That this might be one where the Sixers straight up shot the lights off and it did not matter who was on the floor, that the Sixers were going to produce a blowout there. But I still love that from Nick Nurse, and there will be moments throughout this season in which that comes into play once again. I love that that's his mindset for things. I think that's absolutely correct, and I think teams need to know that a coach has that belief in them, that players respond positively to knowing that it isn't this linear of, cause and effect. If I pick up my 2nd foul and then I'm heading to the bench for 15 minutes. That should not be the case, and I'm happy with Nick Nurse that it is not. He's really loving coaching Joel Embiid. He really is bringing out the most in him, and it's cool when you watch these press conferences, and I've noticed this a lot with Doc Rivers, with Nick Nurse now, and with a lot of players that come to the team. That it's one thing to take in Joel Embiid from afar and see the things he's doing, see the stat lines, see the highlights, all these things, and a completely different thing when you actually see the day-to-day, what he's capable of, night in and night out. One of the cool exercises that I've done in times and I think is pretty entertaining is if you ever check out the opponent's call of the game, just the way they're astounded by Joel Embiid when, for Sixers fans, it's like, yep, this is who he is. He's that guy. You guys should have known this by now. But to see opposing voices on the call of guys from the away team there, it's really interesting just how blown away they are by the things Joel does. Like he can do that at this size, and all those statements are pretty fun to see. So I do love that Nick Nurse has his back, that he is coaching this team at a higher level than we've seen in years past. I love that Joel Embiid has taken his game to another level. I cannot just express enough how impressive it is to have an MVP season and then improve in every single statistical category. Embiid is absolutely winning the MVP race at this point in time, but there is a lot of basketball yet to be played, and hopefully he remains on the floor enough so we at least have him able to finish that race and have a chance at it once again. We know that the championship is the ultimate goal, but Joel Embiid's well aware of that as well. So here we go. Let's buckle in. Let's get into these Jokic versus Embiid debates all over again for the 4th consecutive year. I'm ready for it. If he keeps playing like this, going to make life easy on this side of things. Appreciate you guys for watching this video. Thanks so much for tuning in to Sixers Digest. Make sure to smash that subscribe button. Drop a like on this video. Drop a couple comments. Let me know what your thoughts are on the Joel Embiid evolution as a player, just how impressed you are, and if there's any areas where you think he can still get better, because that's his mission as well. Even with as great as he is on the basketball floor, a guy that constantly wants to get better, which is exactly how it should be. Once again, thank you guys, and I'll be talking with you next time right here on Sixers Digest. Peace.